Hey everyone, it's Captain Oro here, bringing you another Pokemon Champions video. Today we'll be breaking down the Grand Champions Festival hosted by Scrawl VGC and his team, which had over 6,000 players competing for #1 spot. Now, from a personal perspective, I was unfortunately unable to compete due to having events booked prior to the tournament. However, I did have friends competing in the tournament and was updated throughout the weekend on how they did, with a few of them making day 2 of the event, which I'm very happy for them. But looking into this video, we'll be looking to analyze the top 32 or top cut of this tournament, looking into some of the teams in those top 32s, and then looking into our top 8 teams and what made them work so well for our. So before we begin, obviously all this data on all the teams that were competed in this tournament is available on Limitless still, so I definitely would recommend checking it out. Obviously I'm just going over the top 32 teams. There are teams below that are very strong, might suit your style more, or something that you might want to test. I'll show you at the end of the video also how to look up specific Pokemon that you would like to pick up, and have a look at what people are using as common teams to go alongside that Pokemon that you might want to use. But let's start with our top 32, and we'll go into 32nd place with Joe UX9 or Joe Ugate's extra drilled T-Tar team. I wanted to highlight this team because this team actually finished top 4 in the Champions Arena tournament, which was the other tournament that played last weekend. Obviously this just shows how strong a team that Joe has created with this strong fantasy core of Extra Drill, Hydreigon and Mimikyu. I think Mimikyu is a bit of a sleeper pick here. Obviously it has good answers into a lot of the meta, with a lot of ghost types picking up because of the rise of fighting type usage in the meta. So Mimikyu is kind of a nice pick, and it also hits those dragon types super effective with Play Rough, so that's quite nice, combined with the white herb, so you don't have to worry about Intimidate. Joe's been piloting this team for a little while now, and it's just a really strong combination to basically play with, so it's definitely something to watch out for. The next team I want to point out is Matt Knott's team. Again, it's another sand team. However, this sand team is very different in its kind of build. It does have the Corviknight, Garchomp and T-Tar combo. However, it is running around with the Rotom Heat with the Choice Scarf instead, and a Primarina with the Hydro Cannon and a Venusaur Mega. The T-Tar isn't actually a Mega here, it's actually holding Focus Sash. I kind of like this touch because obviously Focus Sash just allows you, basically forces your opponent to respect that they're going to have to hit you twice to take down the Pokemon. That's quite a nice thing for Tyranitar, obviously with a lot of fighting type Pokemon, or Pokemon with fighting coverage. We're seeing King Gambit and Dragonite covering with low kick right now, so that kind of helps it out slightly, where you can basically live that hit once and then attack back, or hit it first and then hit it again before it can hit back. Obviously this T-Tar is running low kick, so it can basically deal with the King Gambits as well. The interesting aspects on this team is definitely the Hydro Cannon Primarina. Hydro Cannon basically works on a charge turn, so you effectively hit first and then it charges back up, so you can't move on the following turn, basically like a Hyper Beam with that one. So yeah, definitely an interesting sand team with a Mega Venusaur, but definitely something to watch out for. I've seen a lot of people experimenting with Venusaur on sand teams, so it is a common pick that kind of comes up. The next team that I want to point out as well is this quite cool Conkeldurr team here. So here it has the Conkeldurr. I've previously mentioned in a previous video that Wide Guard is probably going to pick up slightly. I used it on my Scovillain team with my Garganacl. Having Wide Guard is just really nice. There's a lot of spread damage in terms of Heat Wave, Muddy Water, Earthquake and Rock Slide running around, so being able to prevent those Pokemon from damaging you, especially if they're choice locked Pokemon like the Choice Scarf Garchomp on this team, then you're effectively walling them out, allowing your team to attack. I think it's a nice touch on this Charizard Y team as well, because an easy way to deal with Charizard Y is with rock slide damage. It doesn't really like getting hit by rock type damage, so having Y guard to protect it is nice. The Conk also has Ice Punch that deals with Garchomps, and you also have Mac Punch for priority and Drain Punch to heal yourself back up. We do have again the Rotom Wash. You'll see this commonly. Obviously people are opting for Rotom Wash over Rotom Heat. Both are viable, but you're just seeing the Wash version used quite a lot more. And then we have the Whimsicott with the Tailwind and Encore and Moonblast set going forward off this one. Next team that I was going to look at is the VGC corner team, or Brady Smith. This is a Perish Trap team. Effectively, Gengar is running Shadow Ball, Perish, Disable and Protect. And then you have two Encore mons in the Palafin and Mousehold, both being quite fast in the meta right now. So it's an interesting Pokemon to have on the team with Encore, but you also have that priority with Jet Punch. Obviously, all the Pokemon bar the Hydreigon have Protect, so that kind of enables you to play the Perish Trap mode. The nice touch again on this, as I mentioned, Y-Guard's going to pick up, and we're seeing a lot of Pelipper running Y-Guard over the Tailwind to allow and enable their team to stop maybe Rock Slide flinches. So definitely something to consider when building out your team. If you're running a team that might need basically get unlucky with Rock Slide flinches or moves that are spread damage, then you might want to think about putting Y-Guard onto the team. I think the double Encore pressure is really nice. Mousehold of the Focus Sash is also again really nice as well. It means you have to double tap it before you can basically take it out. And the Scarf Hydreigon is kind of annoying to deal with as well, because it's so fast. Effectively, the only thing that's going to be faster than it is a Scarf Garchomp, so that's kind of nice to have, because you can basically drop a big Draco into the other ones that don't have a Herban Berry or a Scarf on them themselves. Next one on the list that I wanted to have a look at is Dim Sum, or Toller Webb's team. It's kind of an interesting team to look at, because they also are running a Focus Sash Mousehold with the Super Fang, Follow Me and Helping Hand over the Encore. But the interesting one was the combination between the Gardevoir and the Garchomp. Obviously Gardevoir in its normal form has telepathy, and you have a Choice Scarf Garchomp that basically can Earthquake next to it. Obviously the benefit of being Mega Gardevoir is your Pixelate, so obviously something you do need to consider is if you do Mega and you're locked into Earthquake, you are going to be taking that Earthquake damage now, because you don't have telepathy. Another couple of interesting things on this team as well from Toller Webb, I think it's really well built, is the no item Acrobatics Talonflame. We have seen this being picked up quite recently, but it just means you're able to spam super powerful acrobatics into your opponents, especially against Sneaslers. That's always a nice ability to have. The Citrus Berry Basculegion is a really cool aspect, something that's picking up. You'll see, obviously commonly it is Choice Scarf, but you do see Focus Sash and Citrus Berry picking up now, where people are trending towards bulkier sets or wanting their opponents to basically force a game plan around removing the Sash off a Sash Pokemon. The really cool aspect of Toller Webb's team as well, he wanted to have an answer into fellow Kingambits and also into Floettes for this team, so he decided to drop Protect, have the Kowtow, Sucker Punch, Low Kick and Iron Head, and basically call it a day, and basically use Mousehold's Friend Guard to protect this Kingambit if possible, or use the Tailwind to outspeed these Pokemon. Obviously Floette has a really low defensive stat, so Kingambit with its Iron Head being Stab on the Steel coverage into a Fairy type is a really good counter into it, but you also want to have the Low Kick to basically deal with other Kingambits or T-Tars, so effectively having both as coverage is quite nice. Usually you would drop Kowtow to Cleave, but again Kowtow Cleave is quite a nice stab attack to have as well onto the Kingambit, so he's opted for all 4 moves. The next team I want to point out is a triple mega team from Julio 97. It's an interesting aspect because having triple megas isn't a common theme to have. However, it does allow you to have a look at different angles to play the game. Obviously, when looking at an opponent's team, you could make a decision to bring your Scovan, especially if they are physically attackers on their team, using its spicy spray to basically burn the opponent's physical attackers, which reduces the opponent's team by 50%. Obviously, having overheat and giga drain is a nice touch because obviously giga drain allows you to heal back up. But if there's any annoying steel types, especially physically bulky steel types that maybe Sneasel can't break through, then you do have the overheat on the special attacking side to basically break down. Looking at the Corviknight on their team, that would be a nuisance that I would be looking to use that overheat on to basically try and take it out in one turn. They've also got the Corviknight, which is obviously a bit of a sleeper pick as well. They're a bit of a sleeper pick, you are seeing it a little bit more commonly, but this set is actually Ironhead, Bravebird, Bulk Up and Tailwind. Often you'll see maybe like Bulk Up, Bravebird, Tailwind and Roost to keep it on the field for longer. They've paired this with the leftovers to basically help heal it each turn. You've got the common Basque Legion set with the Choice Scarf adaptability, and then you have your other two megas in Frostlass, which would give you the Snow Warning ability with Blizzard, Shadow Ball and Aurora Veil to bulk around the team. And then you have Tyranitar, which is the Sand Pokemon. I guess they've probably put the Tyranitar on this team as a way to counter Charizard Y. As I mentioned, Tyranitar into Charizard Y is quite a nice touch, especially if you can get the weather control in your favor, and Rock Slide does a good amount of damage onto it. Paired with the Basque Legion is probably a very good counter for this Pokemon to have on that team. Now we're going to move on to our top 8 in this tournament. I want to go over a quick overview of the top 8 teams, and then look into the 2 teams into the final. Effectively, if we go into our first top 8 team, this is a interesting team. Definitely something that wasn't in the kind of on my radar going into this tournament, having a look at it. It's a very interesting team because of a couple of factors. Obviously, it's a kind of trick room based team, but you do have fast modes to it as well, which is always nice to have. You have double fake out with the Kangaskhan and Sneasler. Mega Kangaskhan being probably an interesting aspect here. You get the double edge and fake out, but those are normal moves to hold. The interesting aspect on these team is the Hammer Arm and Ice Punch. For people who don't know, Hammer Arm basically lowers your speed. I believe, if I'm correct, with Mega Kangaskhan you get Parental Bond and Hammer Arm will hit twice, which would lower your speed twice as well. So that's quite a cool thing to have, especially if you're running a Trick Room. Potentially the Kangaskhan is trained to a certain EV stat for speed, so that when it hits those Hammer Arms under Trick Room, it underspeeds certain Trick Room Pokemon as well, which is quite nice for the team to have. The Farigiraf is potentially built on the more bulkier side, only holding the Citrus Berry and the Protect. This usually indicates it's not on the offensive side and more bulkier side, but I could be wrong, and the player might have used this as a kind of trap to trick his opponents with this as well. Torkoal and Charizard are really nice kind of addition to the teams. Obviously you have Charizard Y that sets the sun, and you have Torkoal who sets the sun. If you're playing a weather team and you're trying to fight the weather wall, having the Pokemon being able to reset the sun by bringing Torkoal in for the Charizard Y would be quite a decent kind of cool, allowing you to hit those solar beams or fire type weather balls or boosted heat waves in that moment. Obviously that's something to take into account when playing this team. Sneasler again is the kind of normal standard set of the White Herb, Dialga and Close Combat and Fake Out. However, this one has U-turn over the Protect slot. Commonly we see Protect in the 4th slot, but U-turn is quite a good and niche pick. Obviously you can then lead it with Farigiraf, U-turn out into, let's say, the Torkoal or the Primarina, and then start spamming your powerful shred damage attacks on that turn. Obviously, as I just mentioned, there is a Primarina on the Sun team, so a Water type on the Sun team don't usually do that well because obviously Sun reduces the damage of the Hyper Voice, but I'm sure there were some game plans for this player that focused around having Primarina over the Torkoal, potentially an early game Trick Room mode with Primarina, bringing Charizard into the end game and using Charizard's boosted Sun attacks to then deal with anything that was faster once the Trick Room had ended. So it's a very interesting team and something that definitely wasn't on my radar going into this tournament. Definitely something that I'll be looking to have a look at and potentially test if I can. Going on to top 7, we have our highest placed Sableye team by Lakios. Sorry if I pronounce any of these names wrong. Again, the Pelipper is issued with Wide Guard, however it's got no protect. It's going for the Tailwind, it's going for the Weather Wall, and it's going for the Hurricane, so it's on full support for the team. The Archludon is the normal stamina set with the leftovers, so basically you hit me once, I'm going to bulk up, and if you've got physical attackers, now you've got an issue. Basculegion benefits from this rain as well, which has the Choice Scarf adaptability standard set, looking to basically maximize the damage and deal with anything that's annoying. The Sableye is the interesting one. It has no attacking move, however it has the annoying set of Encore, Disable, Will-O-Wisp and Brain Dance. Brain Dance is kind of handy on these Archludon teams. It basically allows you to say, hey, you're going to Mega your Charizard or you're going to Mega your Cheetah. I'm still going to get the weather I want and I'm going to use it against you by hitting you with a big Wave Crash or Electro Shot to basically finish you off. The Mega on this team is Venusaur. I think Venusaur is definitely a Mega that is adaptable for a lot of the weather teams, especially the rain and sand teams. It's something that a lot of people are experimenting with, and I think it's definitely worth having a look at if you are running one of these teams. We have seen Venusaur adopted onto rain teams in past generations successfully, so it's definitely something not to ignore if you are seeing it onto those teams. The interesting one on this team as well is the King Gambit. King Gambit seems to be having an overhaul on its basically movesets and items that it can hold, which is nice to see as the meta develops. This one is looking at the Focus Sash, something we have seen before but not commonly used still, but it basically forces again your opponent to say, hey, I need to double hit you, and that effectively allows you to play potentially the Sucker Punch mind games a little bit easier. This one does not have Counter Cleave, opting for Protect and going for Low Kick and Iron Head, so slightly different to Toller Webb's team, but with the Focus Sash you're in a little bit more secure spot versus, let's say, a Sneasler, where you can basically Iron Head it first turn, they CC you, you live, and then you Sucker Punch on the following turn to finish off the game. There's a very interesting team into top 8. I think the Sableye is like a real nice pick. Without any Grimmsnarl in the current meta, Sableye is definitely one of the top prankster users that can be a real nuisance for any team and has a lot of status moves that you can use for its ability. Next up is Michael Kelch's team. For those of you who don't know, Michael Kelch had a bit of a mad weekend. He was at Prague playing Prague Rec I tournament, and then he was playing this alongside it. I believe he went 4-4 in Prague, so not his best result for an official tournament, but I'm sure this would have made him very happy, finishing 15-3. There is a clip of him with people around him watching the games as he basically top cuts as well, which is an amazing thing to achieve, especially when you're playing 2 tournaments at once. He's got a very interesting team with the non-perish Gengar, looking at the disabled Encore set. Encore actually being on the Alolan Ninetales, so going with the double attack on the Gengar, supported by a Choice Scarf Garchomp that has a Rock Tomb over the Dragon Claw, so potentially looking for some speed control for some of the team. Ninetales is featuring the Focus Sash, Blizzard and Freeze Dry, and then the Incineroar is carrying the Sugar Berry. I think Incineroar is quite flexible at the moment. Obviously you can give it a boosting item, a berry to protect itself, any kind of item you want it basically to have. It's a very flexible Pokemon to have on your team. Obviously we're seeing less Incineroar than normal in terms of the usage stats, but definitely something that you could use. Obviously because Michael's team has got 2 fighting immunities, he's opted for the Sugar Berry over the Chople Berry, which helps against ground type damage, which this team potentially needs support with. Next up is your highest placing Scovillain, Mega Scovillain team and Mega Aerodactyl team. Two Pokemon that I've mentioned in previous videos again. Mega Scovillain is just a really nice kind of Pokemon to have, as I mentioned. Physical teams then become very difficult to break through you. The Mega Aerodactyl is one of the fastest Pokemon in the meta without any choice items attached to it. They've opted for the Rockside Dual Wing Beat and Tailwind set, so basically a standard Aerodactyl set. However, you've now got the Mega, which then gets the Tough Claws boost for its attacks. Como's a really nice touch as well with the soundproof, effectively giving you an anti-Gengar mode alongside the Kingambit. Kingambit is like anti-Gengar, people hate seeing it, and we've got the common trio of the Kingambit, Sneasler and Basculegion. This is currently everywhere at the moment, definitely something you have to respect when you're team building, or something that you have to put onto your team to build out strong core. It's definitely one of the strongest cores that we're currently seeing a lot of top players use on their teams. Going into our top 4, we have some interesting teams going forward, starting off with a Perish Trap Gengar team. Santi, for those of you who don't know, is back in Sword and Shield, won the Players' Cup Invitational that effectively he had to beat a load of champions across the rounds, and then eventually face the final boss in Ray Rizzo in the grand finals. So there was that kind of test there as well. He did amazing during that competition. I remember watching myself, and it's nice to see him back into these competitions getting a result he definitely deserves as a top player. Obviously, talking about his team, he's got the Gengar, Sneasler, Incineroar, Kingambit, Alolan Ninetales and Dragonite. This time, instead of like Kelch's Alolan Ninetales and Gengar, the Alolan Ninetales is Encore Disable Blizzard with the Never Melt Ice, so that boosted Blizzard damage. The interesting aspect on this team, and I think I can see this Gengar team becoming a very common, is the Dragonite with the Protect, Extreme Speed, Dragon Claw, Low Kick, pointing out that both the Kingambit and the Dragonite have Low Kick alongside the Sneasler with the Close Combat. So Kingambit at the moment is demanding a lot of respect, with a lot of the teams running either 2 or 3 fighting type attacks into the Kingambit to get the KO, and this is why Kingambit, you're seeing an increase of it dropping the black glasses and picking up the Choppleberry to potentially protect itself. With an Adamant Sneasler, I will say you still have a 50% chance to OHKO Kingambit, so that is something to take into an account. You're not always guaranteed to lift that CC from Sneasler if they are trained in the Adamant nature as well. Now we're finally going on to our top 2. So we'll start off with the team that finished in 2nd place from Mega Umbreon VGC. This team is the Frostlass team. I think Frostlass is one of the top 5 megas definitely in the meta currently. It has a lot of use. A lot of people have been experimenting with this, but I can see how this team is actually quite annoying to deal with. To start off with, you have the strong core again of Sneasler, Kingambit and Basculegion. However, with the Basculegion, you're running the Focus / Liquidation set with adaptability. That's still significant damage. The Focus / as I mentioned before, makes your opponent respect it. You have to break it before you can basically KO it. The Kingambit again has got the Low Kick, and you've got the Close Combat on the Sneasler to cover for other Kingambits as well, and the Dragonite has the Low Kick. So again, we're seeing triple fighting coverage on a team, effectively saying, hey, I don't want to have a bad matchup into my Kingambit or my T-Tars, so I'm going to run it triple, and we then have a way around those Pokemon. The interesting one on this team, obviously you do have the Milotic with the Scald, Icy Wind and Life Dew. The idea being, hey, let's get Pale up and then we can keep our Pokemon alive or get speed control that we want through the Life Dew. Obviously Scald having a chance to burn as well on those physical attackers, being a bit of a nuisance in that sense. And then the Dragonite is actually multi-scale, which I thought was interesting because this Dragonite has no Protect. So obviously in a focus, you don't flinch from a Fake Out. With this one, actually Fake Out will break your multi-scale and then you won't be able to move. So that is an interesting aspect, but I get it as well, because then you're a lot more bulkier in this team, and this team looks like it wants to kind of be on the bulkier side, especially with the Aurora Veil. But you do get the tailwind control with the Dragonite, having double priority in Sucker Punch and extreme speed from the King Gambit and Dragonite is really nice touch. Again, as mentioned, low kick is coming common on the Dragonite, so if you do face them, be aware that they might be running that low kick as well. But that is our second place team. As I mentioned, I think Frostwrath is really strong, and I can see this team being picked up by a lot of players to test out and potentially develop further along the line. And our winner of our 6,000 person tournament is Ragav. Ragav, if you don't know them, is part of the Battle Room group on YouTube. I would definitely go and check out their content. It's really informative and fun to watch. The guys who do it, him and Colin, are just really entertaining to watch, especially watching them build teams, play teams as well. They're great to entertainment to watch on these ones. They came up with a very common core with the Charizard Floette core. They paired it with a interesting Dragon Fang Garchomp set. Why I say this is interesting is we do see Dragon Fang on Garchomps, but it's usually with the Dragon Claw and not Scale Shot. I'm gonna guess that is potentially to counter the Habanberry Garchomps, effectively giving you, if you do get more than 2 hits into the Garchomps, you're basically probably going to KO it with the Scale Shots. So that's quite an interesting aspect to add there. Obviously you don't have loaded dice, so it is a bit of a risky move to run. You can miss it as well, and you can effectively just get 2 hits, which potentially won't KO those opposing Garchomps. So it's an interesting one to have, but it's definitely cool tech to have on the team if it's a matchup that you want to have. Again, they have the Choppleberry King Gambit with the low kick. I think that's becoming more and more common. People are just respecting having to face against opposing King Gambits. The Basculegion with the normal Scarf set, Flip Turn, Aquajet, Last Respects and Wave Crash. Basculegion is just really flexible, so you can just basically run a set that suits your team best, whether it be the Focus Sash or the Citrus Berry. If you want that speedy Pokemon, then Scarf is definitely the way to go with it. You just have to respect King Gambits in this format. Now, instead of having Sneasel on this team, they decided to go with Aerodactyl. Now, this Aerodactyl set is really interesting in the fact that it is running Wide Guard over the Dual Wing Bee. And as I mentioned, I think Wide Guard is really, really good into this meta. We see a lot of spread damage attacks, and Charizard really doesn't like rock coverage. The most common rock coverage being Rock Slide, and Garchomps being Scarf and being faster than Charizard naturally anyway is not a good thing for the Rock Slide to be there. You've got Aerodactyl, who's really fast, and you've got T-Tar as well, who can have that Rock Slide coverage as well. So having Wide Guard on this Pokemon is really, really good. You've also got moves like Blizzard, Heat Wave, Muddy Water, Earthquake that will basically protect the other team. So you can protect King Gambit from Earthquakes, you can protect the Floette from the Earthquakes. It's a really good tech move, and I think it's also potentially one of the reasons why this team was really hard to break down. As you can see, they went 19-1. That's an insane record. Congratulations to them for winning the tournament, especially a 6,000 person tournament. That's insane. Ragav is a really, really good player, but this team is definitely something to watch out for. So before I finish the video, I obviously wanted to point out how you can search teams based on Pokemon that you might want to use. So if you go onto the Limitless link that I'll put in down below, obviously you can go onto this metagame function. You can break it down into the phases, but I've just stuck onto combined here because that will show up all the 6,000 teams alongside their record. So for example, if I wanted to find, let's say, a Delphox team here, I can see there was 526 Delphox teams, and I can click onto Delphox and this will pull up all the Delphox teams here. Then I can basically look at the teams that I might like and I can click onto the team list and find out what the team were running. With this, you can't find out their EVs, so you will obviously have to work that one yourself unless they've released it themselves on their X account. So it might be worth checking out if they have. If they haven't, then some of the teams I would recommend just sometimes using 252, or if you have a set that you're comfortable with, sticking with that to support the team there. But it's definitely worth having a look at Pokemon that you might want to use in the future. What I will say with this is it won't count Mega Delphox and Delphox as the same, so there will be a section for Mega Delphox. Unfortunately, Limitless doesn't recognize the difference between standard Delphox and Mega Delphox, even though the team sheet will say that it's holding the item to make it Mega Delphox or the Mega itself. So just distinguish that. So if you are looking at Delphox, make sure you check out the Mega Delphox section as well, or if you're looking at another Mega, make sure you check both sections to see what the team, there might be another team in that section as well. But obviously if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you want to, and if you competed in the tournament, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know how you got on. Let me know what team you ran, because I'm definitely interested to see some of the teams that performed well, or teams that just missed out on those day 2, because I think they're still strong teams. I don't think there's anything in this big tournament, you know, there's not a real weak team there. So definitely let me know how you finished up in this tournament. If it was your first tournament playing as well, let me know how you did. I'm sure it was a fun time getting involved in these tournaments as well. But and then if you want to see future content, make sure to leave a follow on the YouTube, so you can be updated when I upload the next video. But until then, we'll see you then. Bye.